So the next thing is, what do you need to do? Well, first you need to make sure you have permission for video recording. And this could be a standardized procedure by the time you get through there. It's somewhat standardized now. Um, I don't think you really need to worry about this until you're actually doing it. Second thing is to examine the plans that you have for your learning segment and identify those tasks where you think that your students will be actively engaged. Don't just have 20 minutes of you lecturing. Make sure that you intentionally plan what are the opportunities for me to demonstrate all the things I need to show in the instruction clips. Then you identify lessons to video record. You provide 2 video clips. Cannot be edited in any way, shape, or form, so they have to be just straight you teaching and everything that happens, any mishaps or whatever. You have to keep them separate, because if you merge them into one file, at least in the past, I've heard that that was an automatic fail because they considered that a video clip to be edited. So one clip should show how you actively engage students while modeling the essential literacy strategy or problem-solving skill or whatever it is you're teaching, whether you're doing math, social studies, or language arts stuff. A second clip should show how you support students to practice and apply the essential literacy strategy to comprehend or compose text in meaningful contexts. Again, so in this case, the first one is really about you modeling things, you doing that initial introduction, you showing them how it's done, whatever the strategy is or problem-solving skill or whatever. The second one is all about them using that, you providing scaffolded lessons or activities and removing that, deepening and extending their understanding as you go. Now, it says an optional thing is that you have a chance to provide evidence of students' language use. I would say why not? Because if you are targeting some specific language demands and so on, get it on film. Again, it is optional, but it can only help. You'll determine who's all involved. Nothing really to talk about there. Video record your classroom teaching. I would encourage you to not just record the week that you are doing the unit for the TPA, but get the students used to video recording. Otherwise, all kinds of artificialities and self-consciousness will come into play for you and them. So, yeah, make sure that the camera works, make sure that the sound works. If during the time where you are teaching, students say things and you can't hear them, then you have to do some closed captioning stuff. There are some other requirements here, but you can read through those yourself. Then you respond to the prompts and, think if other information, when you look at this with like a novice's eye, is there anything else that you were referring to, like a figure on the board that they couldn't see or something in the text that they couldn't see on the video? Make sure then that you include that as supplemental materials. Just so when you say we were talking about this, the grader can have a really good idea of exactly what you were talking about. Now, when it comes to what do I need to write, there are 5 tasks. Again, very nice. This is no more than 6 single-space pages, including the prompts, so you don't have a ton of room here. So be straight and to the point, be very specific, and give concrete examples, but don't get too wordy. First task is really easy. What lessons are shown? Identify them by the lesson plan number. You will have submitted those already. Second one, promoting a positive learning environment. Refer to the scenes in the video clips where you provided a positive learning environment, and how did you demonstrate mutual respect for, rapport with, and responsiveness to students with varied needs and backgrounds, and challenge students to engage in learning. So, if we go down and we look at, well, what exactly is level 3 looking like here, right? Well, the candidate demonstrates rapport with and respect for students. The question might be, what is rapport? Well, it usually means that you have a give and take relationship with your students. You like them and they like you. They respond, they're active, they're engaged. You know them by name. You might share little stories or inside jokes. They seem to be enjoying themselves. Another part of this is that you are providing a positive, low-risk learning environment that reveals mutual respect among students. Now, low-risk learning, what that means is that you're not going to make a student who gets the wrong answer embarrassed or take off points or have anything really negative associated. In your classroom, according to the TPA and a lot of other theories, it is okay to fail. It is okay to get things wrong. Making mistakes is part of learning. So make sure that you demonstrate that over and over and over again. Another part of this is that they say that the environment should reveal mutual respect among students. So giving people leadership roles, making sure you build in some procedures that, get people to help each other, to cooperate, to congratulate, to praise, to give each other feedback and so on, that's a good thing. We'll look in some of the video samples at some ways that you might be able to do that when we meet next time. If we go up to a level 4, right, you have rapport with and respect for students. It's the same. The different thing here is that you have a challenging learning environment that promotes mutual respect among students. Now, this is a little harder one because especially if you have kids working at different levels, it's hard to get everyone challenged at the same time. This is really about making sure that you are not spending a whole bunch of time once the students get it, reinforcing that over and over without making new progress. So pacing is a task there. But also, because you will be pushing things if you're challenging your students all the time, there will be more mistakes, right? And so you have to make sure, again, that you build in things that promote the mutual respect among the students, the cooperation, the collaboration, and all that other stuff. If we go to a level 5, well then, you are building in not just places where students can work together, collaborate, congratulate, and work together, but you are giving them opportunities to talk about how they are deriving their answers, why they're doing what they're doing, in order to not just say that, the way that you modeled it is the only way you can do it. In some cases it might be, but there are probably a lot of other ways. And if you build into your classroom multiple ways where students can come up with their own strategies, you can test them to see if they work, and you'll have to critically think about, will this work in every situation, or is this just one of those kind of false positives where a student has a rule or a strategy that works in one situation but actually results in the wrong answer in other situations. So that's what a level 5 is really all about. If we go to level 2 and we go to level 1, really, right? Level 1 is that you're disrespectful, you have all kinds of behavior management problems. Level 2, you have respect for the students, but there's no connection. So I think that most people will not have a hard time getting a level 3 in this case. Level 4 becomes a little more difficult, and you will have to make sure that you explicitly talk about what you did. Now, if we talk about these rubrics, this is just a general list about what they are. We'll go through them one at a time. But I have here some little do's and don'ts. So when they ask you, how did you demonstrate mutual respect for, rapport with, and responsiveness to students with varied needs and backgrounds, think about what rapport looks like. Make sure that you capture some of these things on video and that you talk about them, point them out. Make sure that you do have high failure tolerance in your classroom, that getting something wrong is not considered a bad thing. You may even have a little discussion at the beginning of lessons about when we get answers wrong. That is part of learning, that is part of growth. It's a necessary thing. There's nothing wrong with failing. It leads to advancement. Make sure that you give students space and opportunities to express their differences in opinion, to justify them, and to come to a reasonable solution, and have active collaboration, cooperation. And the don'ts, don't be rude, don't embarrass your students, and don't call them "Hey you" instead of calling them by their first name.